Welcome to Philopsych. Have you ever watched someone lie, cheat, manipulate, and somehow still rise to the top, and wondered why no one stops them? Why the person who cuts corners is promoted, the one who backstabs is praised, and the one who pretends to care ends up adored? It's easy to believe that life is a fair game, and that eventually justice catches up. But if you've paid any attention at all, you know that's not how the world really works. The harsh truth is this: the system isn't broken. It was built like this. In a world that rewards appearances more than substance, it's no mystery why the worst kinds of people, those who are charming on the surface and hollow underneath, seem to win. They don't win in spite of their nature. They win because of it. Niccolò Machiavelli, the 16th century political philosopher, understood this centuries ago. He stripped away idealism and saw the world for what it is: raw, strategic, power-driven. His most controversial insight? That it's better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. Not because fear is pleasant or righteous, but because fear is reliable. Love can fade, loyalty can shift, but fear holds. And if you take a good look at modern corporate ladders, politics, and even social cliques, that principle is still thriving. The people who rise aren't necessarily the most qualified, the kindest, or the hardest working. They're the most strategic. They know when to smile, when to stab, and when to do both in the same conversation. Psychologically, these individuals often show high levels of what is known as the dark triad traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. They're self-obsessed, manipulative, and lack empathy. But they are also calculated, charming, and unburdened by guilt. That gives them an edge in a competitive world. While others hesitate, consider consequences, or worry about hurting people, these individuals move quickly. They exploit indecision. They dominate social spaces. They sense weakness like a predator senses blood. And society, rather than punishing this, often rewards it. Because we confuse confidence with competence. We see someone speak with certainty, and we believe they must know what they're talking about. We watch someone make bold moves, and we call them a leader. But often, that boldness is just arrogance. That certainty, just manipulation. And we don't look close enough to tell the difference. Even worse, many people admire these personalities. They appear decisive, unshakable, emotionally unaffected. In a world full of self-doubt and insecurity, that looks like strength. But it's not real strength. It's absence. Absence of remorse. Absence of reflection. Absence of fear. And that absence lets them move through life like shadows, always adapting, never anchored, hard to catch, impossible to pin down. The people who play by the rules are often sidelined by those who rewrite the rules. Because rules are idealistic. They assume mutual respect, shared values, a level playing field. But Machiavelli knew better. He wrote, "A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. The world," he said, "is not ruled by virtue, but by the appearance of it." That's why the worst people thrive. Because they know how to appear good while acting in self-interest. They smile while lying. They feign empathy while manipulating. They apologize only to protect their image. And they are masters of performance. In psychological terms, they're often socially intelligent. That doesn't mean they're warm. It means they're observant. They know what you want to hear. They know when to flatter, when to mirror your values, and when to back off. But behind the mask, there's calculation. Everything is transactional. Everything is about leverage. And because so many people are naive, because we project our own morality onto others, we assume they must mean well. That's one of the most dangerous assumptions you can make, that other people think like you, that if you wouldn't betray someone, they wouldn't betray you. But not everyone plays the game in good faith. Some people don't even believe in the game. They believe in winning. But the game is rigged in subtle ways too. Institutions often reward metrics, not ethics. They want results, not moral integrity. A CEO who slashes jobs but doubles profits is called efficient. A politician who makes shady deals but secures votes is called effective. A manipulator who increases engagement on social media is called a genius strategist. The ethics are quietly ignored, because outcome matters more than intention in systems designed for competition, not community. There's also another layer, our psychological bias toward power. Studies show that we're more likely to believe someone is competent simply because they have power. Power distorts perception. It makes people overlook flaws. It rewrites memory. The very act of rising up makes people appear more deserving, even if they clawed their way there with lies. We confuse success with virtue, forgetting that con artists can be rich and dictators can be charismatic. This isn't just about big figures either. Look around in your own life. Think of the co-worker who gossips but still gets praised, the friend who lies but always gets a second chance, the relative who manipulates everyone but is treated like royalty. These people often understand something most of us don't. Image is currency, and if you control how others perceive you, you control what they'll tolerate from you. But does that mean being a good person is useless? No. It means being good in a naive, passive way is dangerous. Kindness without boundaries attracts exploitation. Loyalty without skepticism attracts betrayal. Empathy without caution attracts narcissists. And in a world where the worst often win, the truly wise aren't the loudest or the cruelest, but those who know how to protect themselves without becoming like those they fear. Machiavelli didn't say kindness was weakness. He said unguarded kindness was. He believed in strategy, that to survive in a hostile world, one must see things clearly, without illusion, without self-deception. The worst people don't win because they're evil. They win because they understand how to weaponize perception. And the rest of the world, caught in the fantasy of fairness, lets them. But here's the final twist. They may thrive externally, but that doesn't mean they're free. Many live paranoid lives, always watching, always pretending, always afraid their mask will slip. There's no trust in their world, no real connection, just alliances built on utility. That's not strength, that's survival. And deep down, some of them know it. So no, the world isn't fair. And yes, the worst people often thrive. But thriving isn't the same as living well. It's a performance, a game, and every game has a cost. If you don't want to lose, you don't have to become like them, but you do have to understand them. Because power, unchecked, never stays quiet for long. And those who don't understand power are always the first to be ruled by it.